Hey strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com. Go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your strongman training needs, including ebooks such as my book, How to Train Strongman in a Regular Gym, and 105 kilogram World's Strongest Man, Anthony Furman's new deadlift program. What's wrong with your deadlift, or why your deadlift sucks and how to fix it. Everything's on sale right now, store.startingstrongman.com. So now that I'm done doing the plug that hopefully people use so I can continue to live and make little videos like this, I'm going to talk about the news today, our strongman news, Strong Talk. So the Rogue Record Breakers has been a part of the Arnold since 2016, where it's not just in the event, but they have individual events that you get to try to break records for. You know, around 2016 is when records started becoming a big thing in strongman, where just individual events and not just contest performance. But the difference is this year, they're holding an online qualifier. That means anyone who is strong enough to pass the qualification can try to break a world record. You don't have to qualify for the Arnold. You don't even have to be a strongman. You just have to be good in that specific lift. You could be a one-trick pony and get a little bit of money and some recognition and be up on the main stage of the Arnold competing against Halfthor or who knows who else. Info is off of roguefitness.com, and they talk about the record breakers. It says, launched in 2016, Rogue Record Breakers is a unique strength challenge to showcase amazing accomplishments of modern strength across all disciplines. They represent competition on a whole other level as some of the world's greatest strength athletes pursue history. Athletes that set a new Rogue record are rewarded with the cash prizes as well as having their name etched into strength history. And then they go into past events. Halfthor's elephant bar deadlift, Martine's 565 pound rock over squat, Brian Shaw's 560 pound manhood stone, Kristen Rhodes' max circus dumbbell of 175 pounds, etc., etc. So the difference for this year is that now there's an online qualifier. So if you're strong enough and you pass this, you can submit it. And it says the online qualifier for Rogue Record Breakers is where individuals can earn their spot to compete at Rogue Record Breakers event at the Arnold Classic on March 5th to 8th. And it's taking place right now, February 3rd to 10th. So you had like a days and you have a week to submit these. It should have been, I think this thing wasn't thought of too long ago to allow other people to submit videos. And it's great they're giving the opportunity, but giving, world-class athletes a week to peak for a max lift, because the qualifying standards aren't very far under what the actual world records are. It's a big test and big ask, but it's the first year and it's good they're doing it at all. So event 1, I'm not going to go through the full qualifying standards on each one, is the wriggle out one-hand snatch on the 254 pound Rogue replica of Wriggle Out's barbell, and that is currently held by Mikhail Shivakov. It's just a one-arm barbell snatch with a really cool looking barbell. Event 2 is anvil grip lift. Just going to skip right over that. Don't care. 3 is woman's bag over bar. So this is cool. It's $1,000 for establishing a Rogue record. Minimum weight 25 pounds. This is a new Rogue Record Breaker event for women, and our intent is to establish a new women's record using the Rogue Strongman throw bags. At the conclusion of the competition, the heaviest successful toss with a Rogue Strongman bag is considered the new record. So it's open to women only. Thrown implement may hit the crossbar as long as it continues over the top and clears the cross member. Bar/cross member must be 15 feet off the ground. So basically, as long as someone can clear 15 feet or higher, we're going to have a new record. Someone's going to get $1,000. So it's less money than some of the other records, but it's a good thing to start a standard on, and they get to promote their Rogue sandbags in. I'll put a link in the description for my affiliate link for Rogue Fitness. So if you do buy through Rogue Fitness, I can get $1 or $2. Event 4, men's and women's raw repetition deadlift contest. Ugh. 315 for reps for the men, 225 for the women. What's the time limit is all I want to see on that. No sumo deadlift. Yeah, so basically way too many reps. So we're going to skip, that's not quite a strongman event. Men's Rogue Replica Denny Stonehold, 5,000 for setting a new Rogue record. And the current record is 31:36 seconds, set in 2017 by Mark Felix. And he tried to do it again. So the minimum length lift submitted is 5 seconds. Implement weights need to be way between the weight range below. Implement 1 can range from 320 to 325 pounds. Implement 2 can range from 420 to 425. So you need to do some sort of Denny Stone replica and hold it for at least 5 seconds to qualify. Lifters may qualify by coming to Rogue headquarters and shooting their video there using the stones that will be used at the contest. That's cool if you're close to Columbus. Event 6. Men and women's overhead wooden log lift. So I'm going to get into this at the end. One of the issues I have with this whole road record breakers thing and the qualifier. So 5,000 for both a male and a female separately to establishing a rogue record. Minimum weight for the men is 450 pounds. Minimum women's weight is 253. And they're going to set, in 2015's the Junior Pacific has set the world record for a log clean press at 502.65 pounds. And that's, we're 5 years later and it's still stood. In the Arnold Strongman Classic, we have historically used 2 different Slater wooden logs for our men's overhead pressing event. The Austrian oak and its lighter version have been plate loaded to various weights throughout the years, but we have never held a max lift until this contest. In this new Rogue Record Breaker event, male athletes will attempt to lift a 12-inch wooden log that will be loaded to 504 pounds. For the women's event, female athletes will attempt to lift a 12-inch wood log that will be loaded to 300 pounds. Except for the difference in weight, the rules are otherwise the same. So this is something I don't understand. The current world record in the woman's log is 280 pounds. Why do you have to break it by 20 pounds to get $5,000? There's not going to be any weight jumps except a 300-pound log. Unless some of the athletes were given this info a long time ago that this was going to happen, that are the athletes that are going to be invited, which I believe was done and is frankly unfair and not how we find out the best athlete and prepare for someone to lift the most weight. A month is not long enough to peak for breaking a world record by 20 pounds. That's ridiculous. Why don't we just establish a woman's record of 282 pounds and then have another jump to 300? And 300 is such a monumental weight. I think it deserves more than $5,000 if someone breaks it. It's like, just make it 282, 285. Someone gets $5,000 for that, and have it be a big prize if a woman is going to be the first woman to break a 300-pound log in history. That's ridiculous. And even more ridiculous is that the 2 women who have the 2 biggest log presses in a contest have to do an online qualifier and aren't invited. Would you not invite Eddie Hall to a World Deadlift Championship? Or Hafthor Bjornsson? Or Benny Magnuson? Jessica Fithen at Static Monsters earlier this year pressed a 275-pound log, and it was a world record for a matter of hours until Danny Vahi pressed a 280 at another Static Monsters event. And they both have to do an online qualifier. What? If anyone should have been alerted ahead of time and already pre-qualified for this contest, it should be the two women with the 2 biggest log presses of all time. Anything else either shows that the people on the event, putting on the event, are A, plain favorites, or B, aren't up to date on what goes on in the sport and should look into outsourcing and putting more people on the committee, whatever committee that picks these people, that knows the sport better than they do. That's the only two options. Either you're plain favorites and there's politics involved, or you don't have a good enough grasp on the sport to pick people. The seventh event, which I also think is really cool, is a women's elephant bar deadlift. As soon as Rogue put on their Instagram that there was going to be an online qualifier, I said, how cool would a woman's record on the elephant bar be? You know, and I think it's something that needs to happen in strongman more and more, is that they're letting these women use the exact same implements as the men. You know, in the past there's been like, oh, we'll give the women a car, and then, we'll give the men a car to deadlift and the women lift a tire. The more we make it the same, the more it legitimizes strongwoman as a sport. And this is a great step. It says the minimum weight is 450. So there's women that can pull over 600 pounds, but 450 is the minimum weight to enter this. But on the log, the world record is 280, and you have to lift at least, 253. Like, those numbers just don't add up. That would be the equivalent of, like, to qualify for do the log, you'd have to do 220. And it's just going to be, so, yeah, I think that's going to be a cool one. And a pro event 8, women's monster dumbbell press, 5 grand, setting a new record. The current record is held by Kristen Rhodes of 175 pounds. She did that at the Rogue Invitational last year. The minimum weight to qualify is 150 pounds, which, that's fair, because, to do that, and I guess you'd have to lift over 180 pounds for reps. Let me make sure on that. But yeah, so there's some good and some bad. I'm glad that Rogue is doing this with the record breakers and making it open to anyone who's strong enough to qualify. I'm glad that they're including so many strong woman records in the events. I think that's great. But the bad is other people knew about these events ahead of time. There's just no denying it. And that's not fair with such a short notice to put in qualifiers. And some of the standards just don't add up. Like, why does the world record for the log have to be beat by 20 pounds? Anyways, it'll be interesting to see who goes through, and I will be sure to update people on what other events, on who ends up qualifying and my take on each event as they happen. And thanks for watching, and make sure to hit subscribe. And you can also listen to the audio version of this if you just look wherever you get podcasts, Strong Talk Podcast. Follow me at Let Kalle Lift and at Starting Strongman across social media. And of course, go to store.startingstrongman.com.